we've ended up here. And so did your future just get bigger?
Yeah.
Do you have more choices now? Have we broken through to a possibility now? What we're going to do is we're going to take the negative thought and swish over the top with what you wanted instead. So write down in your book, or in your booklet there, what's a negative thought that fires off a negative feeling in the body? Write down the thought that you get. And when you write down that thought of the negative thought, we're going to create a picture of it and fire off a different feeling. All right, so picture one will be the negative thought. So write down that now and make it valuable to you so you get something from today. What would be an example of a negative thought that you have that you always say to yourself? It's not possible, can't be done. Maybe it's a belief. It's not worth it. It's kind of connected to why we're doing this, you know. Write down whatever the negative thought is you say to yourself that would be valuable today if we were asked to swish over the top of with something positive instead. It might be, can't be bothered. It's not an empowering feeling. I can't be bothered. It might be, I can't do it. I can't do it's a belief. And if you say I can't do it, then you're right. Because you won't really even take a step to try and make it happen, right? If you say I can do it, you're right as well. Even if it's not possible, we don't know yet. But if you say I can't, you are 100% right. If you say I can, maybe even if you're 1% right, you still might take a step to proving it one way or the other. Getting more information inside your mind. And so write down, it might even be I can't do that. Or I'm just not that kind of person that does a public speech or something, or whatever it might be. So write down your words, and just put your hand up if you've got one, just so I know who's got a negative thought that we can make a picture of. Yeah? We've got a couple. Anyone else got a negative thought? Yeah? A couple people writing. And if you think about the negative thought, so Carl, you've got a negative thought, what picture comes to mind for you when you think of that negative thought? Do you have a picture that comes up?
My work.
Your work? Okay. And so, what would you want instead of the negative thought? I haven't asked you what that is yet, but what would you want instead to feel or think or be?
Feel that I do a good job.
Do a good job. So confidence.
Yeah.
And is that something where you need the feedback from someone else, or is it inside you?
Inside me.
Inside you. Okay, cool. And so is there a negative thought that comes in that you would like to have a different feeling over?
Yes.
Yeah? What would that be, like, if you're happy to share?
I sometimes feel like I don't do that great of a job at work, but it's proven to me in reality that I actually do, but I still feel like I don't.
Right. Well, that sounds like a pretty valuable thing to remove and know that let the evidence support my feeling good about myself. When you can actually see the evidence, you start to change your belief that there was something that, well, I'm not quite measuring up, but I actually am.
Yeah, it's almost like imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome. You know what? I was going to write a course about that. So you might be the first example. I've had some clients go through the same thing where they step into a certain field and they've actually got the skill, but there's something they don't believe in themselves. There was one lady I saw in it was a networking group, and she was a leader of, she had a company with 94 virtual assistants in her, not company, but that she was managing, and she didn't see herself as a leader. She had 94 people she was leading, and yet, but I'm not a leader. Yes, you are. You got 94 people, Exhibit A over here, and yet she didn't believe herself to be a leader. And there was an identity thing going on that she was still shifting over time and having experiences as she went. And sometimes it takes a series of experiences to see it from different angles as well to help us overcome that. fantastic example. And so the swish pattern, you've got picture one, nice and clear, and you can see that through your own eyes, you at work with that feeling. Yeah? So that's picture one. So we'll create picture one. And anyone else got their thought written down now? Just put your hand up if you've got one. You got your thought written down, the negative thought. Anyone else got their negative thought written down? Yeah? Yeah? One at the back there, you've got one? Yeah? And what's would you care to share? Can you make a picture out of it, necessarily?
So I'm an anxious person.
Uh-huh.
I overthink everything.
Overthink, right. And what would you like instead?
To be more relaxed.
More relaxed. That's good.
More, you know,
Just whatever, water over a duck's back sort of thing. Fantastic. And can you make a picture of that out of your own, looking out of your own eyes? If you had to put a picture of what that looked like, you can see what that looks like. And you're probably having experience, you're seeing something going on in front of you. So the idea is, I don't like spending too much time on the negative picture because you've already got it, right? You already created it by yourself. We don't want to strengthen that. We want to try and not remove it, but allow it to vanish. So picture one, make sure you've got a picture in your mind's eye, looking through your own eyes of this. Now, that's picture one. Now, picture two is your ideal self. Now, there's three things your brain does. It distorts, it deletes, and it generalizes. And what we do, if we can take hold of those three principles, we can make a generalization about ourselves, like I'm an anxious person. It's a generalization. Or like I'm not good at work, but it's a generalization, and the evidence is suggesting other things. So we can actually look at it differently. Okay, brain, let's look at this from a few different perspectives. And when you walk around a rock, and you look at it from 360 degrees, if that rock is a big kind of a disc, from the face it looks like a circle. If you walk around the side of that rock, it's like a skinny sliver. Then you go to the other side, it's a circle again, because it's this big disc rock, right? A very strange, maybe marble shape. And so when you look at things from different perspectives, you look at it differently. Okay, so picture number two will be your ideal self. And so on the document here, we've got picture two, ideal self. Now this is an ideal self where you've got negative thought. Now let's write what you want instead, to be calm, or to acknowledge that I am competent and confident, I'm actually doing a good job, and I've got a belief inside myself. What's the belief you need to have inside yourself to not have that feeling? What would you have to believe instead? I am good at my job, or I am calm, but I'm calm because I've got all the information in front of me. Or maybe there's a belief that, no, I'm good at my job, and I deserve the raise, or I deserve the praise, because I'm really good. I serve my customers. Would that be a good belief for yourself? What would be a good belief for you instead? Ideal self, right? This is you, you're just awesome, you sort of struck me down the street. What's or your version of that?
My ideal thought.
Your ideal self, yeah. Like this is you who solved this problem 10 years ago in the future.
That I am doing really good at my job.
Cool.
And I can take on more than I think.
Wow. So I have the capacity. And so what advice would you give your younger self? This is you 10 years into the future, been through all that, that's like old hat. I know how to do all that. What would
be more confident and don't be scared to just take the step.
take the step. If you look at your values, you might be able to find a value that then allows you to take that step because you'll be getting something you'll want. Because it starts to draw you forward. Instead of saying, I don't want, you say, well, but I do want this. So you can put your values, if you go to your values, you can put your values into your ideal self right now. Write down your top 3 values next to the ideal future self that solved all your problems. Write down those values right now, and you can put those in there. So it might have been that I'm getting growth. that I am connected and respected and significant, and all the other things that you want to put in there. As you've got this picture of your ideal self, does it feel good to think about that? Does it feel good to think, well, there's a version of me in the future, ideal self, that solved all these problems, has these beliefs that I'm empowered, that has these values that I'm getting and I can plan for and actually make sure I get them. All these different things that you can get. And so as you think about that, does it feel good to think about that as an idea? Does it feel good to know I can have those things? We're now going to create two pictures. We've got the first picture and the second picture is picture 2, your ideal self. And imagine your ideal self with all those values, all the feelings from the old memory, all of the things you want instead. And write down some words in there right now, just so that you've got some ideas of yourself. So write down some more words around this ideal self. So you've written 2 or 3 things at least. So if you go to your piece of paper, maybe it's, I can do anything. Maybe it's, I'm worth it. Maybe it's, I'm confident. Whatever it might be for you. And if you write those down, in a moment, what we're going to do is swish these 2 pictures together. First thing we'll do is write that down. I'll give you a couple of seconds just to write down a few more words. Maybe put your values down there. Writing down those words. Very good. Keep on going. Give you another minute or so. So now you've got this ideal self that's building. It's the generalization that's starting to build up. Now, if you were to look at yourself from the outside, like you can see yourself, as if you're walking down the street, what would you put in this ideal self? Would this be a position of someone standing like this, or would you be like looking good? Would you be wearing something particular? If you really got your act together, you're feeling good, you've got all these generalizations. Would you've got your makeup on, your hair's just so, or whatever it is for you that makes you feel good. What would you see yourself in the ideal self? So I'll start over here, you're doing so well. If you had a picture of yourself, you're at work, you're looking maybe professional. I'm not sure what your work is, but you're looking professional or you're looking confident. Is there a look you have on your face? Is there a stance that you take? Or what would it be for you?
Yeah. Smiling.
Smiling. Smiling.
When I'm at work.
Yeah, smiling. What else? Relaxed.
Yeah, relaxed.
Confident. What does confidence look like? You're mentioning that.
Confidence is just believing that I'm doing the best that I can.
Fantastic. So believing I'm doing the best that I can. And does this version of you sort of get feedback from clients or the customers that show, I'm actually doing a great job?
Yes.
Yeah. And then there's a good feeling in the body when that happens. And are you dressed a certain way, or when you see yourself from the outside? How are you dressed?
Dressed in nice clothes.
Nice clothes. So professional, would that be the word?
Yeah, professional.
Cool. So you're a professional, you're smiling, you're looking relaxed, you're confident in your abilities, and it's a good feeling, right?
Yeah.
So this is the beginning of a wonderful generalization of you, your ideal self. And of course, you can imagine, you could do a whole session on the beliefs you would want and the values you would want, and all of those things coming through. Anybody else care to share about an ideal self picture? What would be a picture of you who's got it all together? A picture of you who is stepping forward, who is having the variety, who is having the significance. What beliefs would you need? Would you care to share about a picture? What's your ideal self look like in your situation? Confident.
Yeah.
And then what is that, if you see yourself looking confident, what does that look like? I mean, if you imagine you were a fly on the wall, you saw yourself, would you be like, how would you be walking, or Is there how would you be standing?
I just feel relaxed,
Mm-hmm.
not having the butterflies in my stomach.
Right. Okay, so you can see you got the before and after. So the butterflies are gone because I'm certain of what's going to happen. There's no worry, it's actually, there's a confidence. I'm confident inside myself. So you can see very quickly get to some beliefs, couldn't you? Like, well, the belief I want instead, what would be a belief you'd want instead?
What do you mean, sorry?
Well, like,
Of myself.
that I'm going to be safe. I'm very safe. There's nothing's going to attack me. There's no butterflies. Like I'm just sort of joining dots. But would there be a belief that like I'm secure inside myself, or I'm just sort of throwing ideas out there?
I think I'm not, I don't know if it's a belief, but it's just like not feeling judged.
Not feeling judged.
You know, and that builds myself
Got it.
confidence, because the feeling of being judged, that's what gives me the butterfly and then makes me, you know, stay on my corner.
Right. A good belief to have instead might be, what's the opposite of being judged?
Being accepted.
That's awesome. What a good word. So maybe that's the belief you could write down, that I'm fully accepted for who I am. I accept myself, and so everyone accepts me. So that's powerful. That is a wonderful generalization. So does everyone have a picture of an ideal self? Because what we're going to do now, I'll do a little demonstration, and would you like to be a demonstration, Kayla? Hey, if you want to come up here, I'll do a demonstration. What we're going to do in a moment, you're going to go into groups of 2, and you're going to put picture 1 and picture 2 on your partner's hand, and we're going to do a swish pattern. So I'll demonstrate exactly what we're going to do. Okay, so what we are doing is we are going to put picture number 1 on this hand, which is the negative thought.
Okay.
Can you put that there? So you just stand still with your hands down.
Oh, okay.
I'll put it on my hand here. So I'll put it on my hand here. Can you see it? You got the picture on there? And then this is picture number 2. This is your ideal self we just talked about. Yeah? You got that on there? Now, what we're going to do, we're going to neurologically change our association with that old negative thought into the ideal self that's got it together, confident, competent, professional, all those good words, yeah? Okay, so there's picture 1. Now, what we're going to do in the activity, make sure you're a good COVID 1.5 metres apart, right? Because your hands are going to be like this, and we don't want anyone knocking anyone out, okay? So we will get you to spread around the room a little bit. Okay, so this is picture number 1. You got that there? And what you'll do is you'll quickly swap hands and say the word swish when you do it. It's called a swish pattern. You just got to make a noise. All right, so there's picture 1. You got it there? Now, before we start, what's the score out of 10 you give this a problem, this thought?
Like 10 being the worst.
10 being terrible,
Okay.
0 not at all. 10 terrible.
Like 5.
5. And as far as the consequences of not being confident, score out of 10 is how much that's a problem for you?
Like internally or in like?
Well, internally first, so score out of 10 is it a big problem about not moving forward?
Probably like a 7.
7, good. I'm looking for a 7, so something around 7 or an 8 or a 9, something that's worthwhile shifting. Okay, so tap into that feeling, and there's picture number 1. All right, you got that there? So your picture number 1, you got it there it is. Swish, picture 2. Got picture 2? Can you see yourself being confident?
Mm-hmm.
Can you see the professional?
Yeah.
Okay, and then put it down. Picture 1, you got it there? Swish, picture 2. You got it there? Confident? Beliefs? How do you feel about yourself? Okay. Excellent. So you do it just like that. You just swish it. You make them put picture 1 there, you put picture 2 there, and you swish it. But spend more time on the happy picture so that they're enjoying that, right? Okay, we'll do it a bit faster, okay? Picture 1, you got that there? Swish, picture 2. Feeling good? Picture 1, got it there? Swish, picture 2. Feeling confident?
Yes.
Professional? Confident? Deserving of a raise?
Yes.
Got it together? Gonna get more money soon. Okay, picture 1, got it? Picture 2. Feeling confident? We driving a new car yet?
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. That's a very quick little process. We can keep doing it. But how do you feel, if you think about that negative thought, how do you feel about that now? Score out of 10.
I feel like I can change it.
Mm-hmm.
I work towards it.
So if you give it a score out of 10, where would it be? As 10 being a problem, 0 not at all.
Right now, I'd still give it a 5.
5. So you've gone from 7 to 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we keep going until we get to a happy place, right? And so we've got picture 1. Still got it there. That's the negative self. Yeah. Swish. Positive. Driving your car. More money. Deserving of a raise. Awesome thoughts in your head. We're getting some good responses. Okay, picture 1, negative thought. Yeah, not deserving. Yeah. Swish, positive. Ideal self, confident, wearing good clothes, awesome. Yeah. Wearing Gucci. We're getting a bit more specific now, aren't we? Wearing Gucci. Alright, so come on boss, you deserve a bit of I'll be leaving the job to a bigger place in town soon. We were walking around Auckland in the city and there were some big tall buildings with some expensive cars in there. We'll be expecting to win there soon. Okay, picture 1, you got it? You got it there? Negative thought. Swish. You feeling good? Confident? Are you dressed well?
Yeah.
You got the Gucci on?
Yeah.
What sort of car we're driving?
Tesla.
Tesla. That's giving it a bit. That's we're having good. How do you feel about that negative thought now?
I feel like it's something I can change now that got in perspective.
And score out of 10, you think about that negative thought about not deserving. I mean, can you access that thought now?
Yeah.
Yeah? And what's a score out of 10? It's a problem for you. Five? Right? Oh, and you can do more swishing, but you can get the feeling and the association down, right? And I'm doing it in a kind of a fast and a little bit dirty way, but you can see how all of a sudden she's accessing Gucci and Teslas and hey, it's whatever motivates the person, right? I'm not the judge. It's like, fantastic, right? That's the activity. And so we'll do one more round. So you're currently at sort of 5s out of 10, right? You've got the negative thought, yeah? And you've got the negative thought there. Swish. Gucci, Teslas, looking professional. And also, what are you getting from it?
A vision of me in the future and how I'd like to do.
What about your beliefs?
My beliefs, that I'm a confident person, doing well in
And
life.
can you see yourself in that image?
Yes.
And so this is an ideal self. And you start to connect from the negative. You've got the negative there?
Yeah.
Swish. Ideal self. Smile on the face. And so if you think about that negative thought, that'll be our last round. How do you feel about the negative thought as it being a problem? Score out of 10.
3.
3. Wow. Got down to 3. So that's pretty good. Went from 7 down to 3. Just some random man standing here swishing in front of you. Very weird kind of situation. Thank you very much. Take a seat. Thank you. Well done. So that's the activity. So your task now is to get into groups of 2, and you're going to put picture 1 on this hand and picture 2 on that hand. I haven't counted to see if you've got an odd number or not. I can come and join someone if they want to do it. And so you're going to stand up, find a place in the room, 1.5 COVID minute apart, so you don't whack each other. And you're just going to do that. Putting picture 1 on this hand and picture 2 on that hand. And the idea is your brain starts to associate the negative thought with an ideal self. Negative thought with an ideal self. Negative thought with an ideal self. You see how the brain starts to connect it. You're playing with your programs in your brain. Sounds good, doesn't it? You're becoming the master to break through any negative thoughts that stop you. By learning these techniques for yourself, you can do them by yourself, but you can also do them with people. You can do them with a coach like me. I've done many sessions where I've taken people's anxiety right down using the Swish Pattern, giving them a confident, version of themselves, removing the negative emotion, and they've shifted to a positive place. So, with that, we'll now do a little 5-minute each way go at the swish pattern. If you want to stand up and let me know who's got groups of 2.
And then,
Picture 2 on that hand.
how do you feel?
Ideal self. And then, how do you feel? What are you seeing?
Mau có terus cewek kok laki gue mau bukan gue tadi dia mau
Are you wearing a certain clothing? Are you standing yourself? So, picture 1, negative thought. Then picture 2, yourself. Where you're right, where you've got a wrong resolve. This is what you want to see. And then you can ask some questions to that. All words are really important with regards to on picture 1. Yeah.
He doesn't want to tell us.
No, he doesn't have to tell you what it is. So just put your hand up. Can you see the picture 1 on there? The red one, right? Picture 1 is the negative thought. The negative thought. Just put the negative thought on the hand. Yeah. And swish. Picture 2. Can you see ideal self? Solved all these problems. Yeah, this is you who's calm, confident, got your act together. Okay, do it again. Picture 1, negative thought. Picture 2, feeling great. Ideal self. Can you see yourself in the picture? And so what you can ask him is, in picture 2, what are you wearing? What are you looking like? I can ask you, what are you wanting instead? Are you looking confident? What beliefs do you have? And just play with him. See if you get with it. You watch his body, and if he starts to respond, you go, oh, we've landed on something he wants here. Cool. So give it another go. Picture 1. Picture 2. Are yourself.
What are you wearing?
Wearing nice clothes
Negative thought. Picture 1. You can even just put the negative thought on. Yeah, picture 1. And do you have a picture 2? Ideal self. What do you see yourself doing when you're confident? When you're confident and you see yourself being confident, what are you seeing? Feeling good? Is your face relaxed? You're like relaxed? Oh, sexy. So you pay attention to body language. Oh yeah, that's it. My face is relaxed.
And he just look at me, no, my hand is too small. Maybe that has an impact.
Okay.
I don't know, because it has one. Such thing.
After that exercise, it doesn't matter what's the negative thoughts anymore because now we've got all the nice things the other side. So I didn't follow the numbers, sorry.
No, that's perfect. I'm very happy with your positive energy. It suggests that something positive has moved. We've gone from this to this. We've started to shift your mind. We've started to use in the present moment. Oh, we're right here and now. We haven't visited the future you, but we have in your brain. Your brain doesn't know any different. We've ended up here. And so your future, did your future just get bigger? Do you have more choices now? Have we broken through to a possibility now? That's what today was all about. It was about breaking through to a new you. Breaking through to more ideas, more choices. Breaking through the negative thought to what you want instead. That is effectively what we've just done. It was about breaking through, it was about the swish pattern, it was all about moving forward. Oops. And Carl Jung used to say, where the fear is your task, And what we've just done today is we've faced the fear by actually just reassociating different things to it. We still have to deal with the negative, of course, but our brain does too much. Our brain stops us before we even take a step forward. Breaking through is about learning how to get through that barrier.